Welcome back to D Machine, the place where we explore the hidden stories behind the machines and factories that build the modern world. Today we're taking a closer look at something found in every home, yet rarely appreciated: the porcelain toilet. A simple fixture, but one that represents centuries of ceramic craftsmanship, engineering, and industrial innovation. In this video, we'll go inside a working factory in China to see how raw clay and recycled minerals are transformed into the durable, glossy porcelain toilets used around the globe. From muddy slurry to precise molding to blazing kilns, every step reveals a fascinating blend of old-world technique and modern industry. Let's begin the journey. Every porcelain toilet begins its life in a place that doesn't look very glamorous at all, right here, in the raw material yard. Trucks roll in carrying tons of recycled clay, shale, and mineral-rich soil. These are the building blocks of modern ceramics. As the trailer lifts, mounds of dark, heavy earth slide to the ground. Nothing about this looks delicate, but this mixture will soon become a glossy, perfectly smooth toilet bowl. Front loaders move in immediately, scooping the raw material and transporting it to the mixing area. Each batch has to be carefully measured. Too much clay, the toilet becomes brittle. Too much shale, and it won't form properly in the mold. Next, workers add refined red clay and other minerals. These powders help control plasticity and shrinkage, two key factors in ceramic manufacturing for the past thousands of years. Ancient potters relied on instinct. Today's factories rely on precise ratios. Water is poured in to create a thick slurry. It flows into an underground mixing chamber, where powerful paddles break down every lump of clay. The goal is simple: a perfectly smooth slip, free of air pockets and impurities. Once the mixture reaches the right consistency, it's pumped into massive storage tanks. Here, the slip will rest, circulate, and filter, slowly transforming from muddy earth into a material capable of becoming a flawless porcelain toilet. 14 hours later, the raw clay mixture has finally settled. Inside these massive tanks, the slip is constantly stirred and filtered. This long resting period allows heavy impurities to sink and the fine ceramic particles to stay suspended, exactly the consistency needed to form a toilet body. The filtered slip is then pumped into a circular screening drum. Here, rotating paddles break apart any remaining chunks. What comes out is smooth, creamy liquid clay, the same material potters have used for centuries, but now produced on an industrial scale. From there, the slip flows through open channels toward the casting workshop. This might look simple, but every drop must be perfectly uniform. A slight imbalance in density can cause cracks, leaks, or warping later in the kiln. Inside the molding hall, hundreds of plaster molds stand in long rows. Plaster is porous, so as the slip fills the mold, it slowly draws out moisture, forming a solid ceramic wall along the interior. This is how the hollow body of the toilet takes shape. Technicians monitor each mold carefully. Too much pressure, and the mold might burst. Too little, and the walls become thin and weak. Years of experience guide their hands. When the thickness is just right, the workers open the heavy molds. What emerges is the fragile, green body of a toilet. Still soft, still delicate, but finally recognizable in form. Edges are trimmed with handmade tools, smoothing out seams and imperfections. This step hasn't changed much in decades. Even in modern factories, craftsmanship still matters. A pressure gauge nearby helps them ensure the casting system stays stable. Good slip pressure means consistent wall thickness, and consistent thickness means a strong, reliable porcelain toilet. Once the molds are opened, the toilet is still incredibly fragile. This stage is where skilled hands take over. Workers gently trim away the seams left behind by the plaster molds. Every edge, every curve has to be shaped while the clay is still soft enough to work with. Though this is a large-scale factory, the atmosphere feels almost like an old pottery workshop. Rows of toilets stretch across the room, each one at a different stage of drying, while workers move quickly from mold to mold. Some molds are so heavy that it takes 2 people to handle them. They strip away the excess clay, revealing the form underneath. It's messy, exhausting work, done in a hot environment coated with fine ceramic dust. But without this step, no toilet would leave the factory with clean, accurate lines. When the main body is ready, teams lift it from the mold. This is one of the most delicate moments in the entire process. The clay is strong enough to hold its shape, yet soft enough that a single wrong move can deform it. That's why they lift slowly, carefully, often in pairs. After that, workers refine the inside channel of the toilet. These internal tunnels guide water and waste through the system, so their shape must be precise. It's all carved, scraped, and smoothed by hand, because no machine can reach every hidden corner with the same precision. Once finished, the green bodies are placed in long rows to dry. Over several hours, moisture evaporates and the clay begins to harden. At this point, the toilets finally look solid, but they are still weeks away from becoming the glossy porcelain we're familiar with. After the green bodies have dried for a while, they enter one of the most meticulous stages of toilet making, cold finishing. This is where every seam, every ridge, and every imperfection is corrected by hand. Workers begin by smoothing the outer surfaces. Because the clay is still slightly damp, it responds well to careful shaping. These drip lines you see along the edge are normal. They form as moisture escapes, and they're sanded away to ensure a perfectly smooth contour. Next, small plaster inserts are attached to the front of the toilet. These create the precise openings needed for flushing and drainage. Each insert is pushed gently into place, forming a watertight geometry once everything is fired. Inside the toilet, the shaping continues. Workers refine the internal channels, areas no customer will ever see, but which determine how efficiently a toilet flushes. Sharp edges are carved away, curves are refined, and trapped clay is removed by hand. It's slow work, but essential for performance. Once the clay firms up into a lighter, beige-like color, the surface texture becomes easier to inspect. Any fine line or uneven joint is located and corrected. A small flashlight helps reveal imperfections the naked eye might miss. Then comes the most delicate inspection. Running fingers along the contour of the bowl to detect bumps or soft spots. Ceramics may look solid, but at this stage, they're still vulnerable. A careless move can undo hours of progress. Workers also clean the connection ports, the inlet, the outlet, and every passage between. These openings must be precise, or the toilet won't fit modern plumbing standards. Finally, the exterior is wiped clean with damp cloths to remove dust and leftover clay. By the end of this stage, the once rough shape is transformed into a clean, refined ceramic body, ready for glazing. Once the clay bodies are fully shaped and inspected, the toilets move into the glazing department. This is where the transformation from dull gray clay to glossy white ceramic truly begins. Workers give each piece a final surface check. Even the smallest dent or scratch must be smoothed out, because once the glaze goes on, every flaw becomes permanent. It's dusty, meticulous work, done under bright lights to reveal every imperfection. Smaller components, like tank lids and mounting parts, are sanded separately. These pieces must fit together with tight tolerances, so their edges are refined with extra care. Ceramic dust fills the air, a reminder that every curve and corner has been shaped by human hands. Toilets are then brought into the glazing booth. Using a pressurized spray gun, workers coat the entire surface with a thick layer of liquid glaze. This glaze is what gives porcelain its brilliant shine and makes the surface waterproof and resistant to stains. But the glaze doesn't just make the toilet look good. It seals microscopic pores in the clay, dramatically improving durability. A perfectly even coating is crucial. Too thin, and the body won't shine. Too thick, and the glaze may crack during firing. After spraying, the inside of the bowl is cleaned and refined. Any excess glaze is wiped away to ensure smooth water flow. The interior curves determine how well the toilet flushes, so every stroke of the cloth matters. Finally, the freshly glazed toilets rest on racks to dry. Here they wait, rows upon rows, like an army preparing for the final stage, the high-temperature kiln that will turn this fragile clay into strong, gleaming porcelain. After glazing, the toilets are carefully loaded into large drying chambers. Temperature and airflow must be controlled with precision. Too hot, and the glaze may crack. Too cool, and moisture remains trapped inside the clay. These digital meters help keep the process stable. Once fully dried, the toilets are moved onto kiln cars. From here, they begin the most dramatic part of their journey: firing. Inside the tunnel kiln, temperatures climb to nearly 200 degrees Celsius. At this heat, the clay undergoes vitrification. Its particles fuse together, transforming the once fragile body into dense, durable porcelain. The glaze melts like glass, bonding permanently to the surface. For hours, the toilets travel slowly through the glowing furnace. The intense orange light is a sign that the temperature is just right. Too high, and the toilets warp. Too low, and the glaze won't shine. Ceramics may be ancient technology, but the science behind it is still incredibly exact. When they emerge from the kiln, the transformation is complete. The dull gray clay is now brilliant, glossy white porcelain, smooth, strong, and ready to handle decades of daily use. This is the moment when a simple lump of earth truly becomes a modern household fixture. Once the porcelain body has cooled, the toilet enters its final stage of assembly. Technicians install the internal hardware, fill valves, flush mechanisms, and all the components that control water flow. These parts must fit perfectly, because even a small leak can cause major issues once the toilet is in someone's home. Each tank is then tested with water. The blue caps you see protect the valves during this step. Workers watch closely for drips, pressure drops, or irregular flow. It's a simple test, but it determines whether a unit passes or fails. Further down the line, workers prepare every toilet for packaging. Accessories, bolts, gaskets, and manuals are matched with the correct model. Everything is laid out neatly to ensure customers receive a complete set. Next comes the flush test. Dyed water is sent through the bowl to reveal how efficiently the toilet clears waste. The color makes it easy to see the pattern and strength of the flow. Performance must be consistent, or the toilet won't meet modern plumbing standards. Finally, the box toilets are loaded onto trucks by hand. It's demanding work, but this step connects the factory to the world, sending these fixtures to homes, hotels, apartments, and construction sites around the globe. From raw clay to polished porcelain, the journey is complete. And that's the remarkable journey of how a simple porcelain toilet is made. From muddy earth to a polished piece of engineering that quietly serves millions of homes every single day. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary objects around us come from extraordinary processes, shaped by skilled hands and powerful machines. If you enjoyed this look inside the factory, don't forget to subscribe to D-Machine. Join us as we explore more stories of craftsmanship, heavy industry, and the machines that keep our world moving. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.